Just a very quick note to the start of this video here. This is not a replay commentary. This is a discussion video. I'm not going to be mentioning anything that's happening in the actual replays themselves over the course of this video. It's just there so that if you want to watch something, then it's on there in the background. And actually, just a quick thing I just want to ask you is about. In the future for discussion videos, would you prefer I continue doing this sort of thing? Where I have like gameplay on the background, or would you prefer if I just used images of the topic that I'm talking about? So yeah, on to the video itself. Hello everybody, this is Dino GTO, and today we're going to be talking about the FV215B. Now, just a quick caveat I need to put at the start of this here, because the details I'm about to go over are not confirmed by Wargaming. These are primarily leaks that I'm talking about. So because these details have not been 100% confirmed by Wargaming themselves, I would just say for now, treat them as if they're a rumor. But in my opinion, I have a tendency to believe these sort of things because, from my experience, like with the FV215B as an example, they were right about this. They're right about that even. So I've a tendency to believe they're probably right about this as well. So let's get into the actual details themselves. So we're going to have like a wee discussion here about the FV215B potentially receiving the FV215B treatment. In other words, it's going to become a Tier 10 special vehicle. This has been reported on by places like the Armored Patrol, the Daily Bounce, Stats Report. At least as far as I'm aware, all three of those have reported on it. So just to clear something up just quickly, there is a difference between a premium vehicle and a special vehicle. A premium vehicle is something like a Löwe or a T-25 Pilot. But a special vehicle is something like a T-55A or an Object 260. In other words, they can take a crew from any other vehicle of the same type and the same nation, but they cannot. But they will not make money. That's pretty much the main difference between the two. So with that cleared up, let's get into the actual details. So you may be wondering, why is this happening? Well, it's because, as far as I'm aware, the FV215B is pretty much a total wargaming fabrication, whereas the proposed Super Conqueror, and that's, if you don't know, that's a replacement for the FV215B, is essentially a merger between two real-life projects. So let's get into some details about the actual Super Conqueror itself. So from the leaks, it seems to be essentially what you'd expect. It's pretty much an up-armored, improved version of the previous tank, which was just the normal Conqueror. But interestingly enough, from the leaks I've seen, the Super Conqueror seems to be a little worse in some aspects than the FV215B, which is interesting. But I suspect the reasoning for this is because, well, first off, the FV215B has a rear-mounted turret, so I suspect that's part of the reasons why that's part of the reason why the stats were so good on that vehicle. Whereas the Super Conqueror is going to be, well, it's based on a Conqueror, so the turret is front mounted. And also, I think the Super Conqueror, from what I've seen, is going to have significantly better, at least guaranteed turret armor. Because if you've seen the images that have been leaked for the turret on that thing, it looks pretty cool actually. It has a bunch of spaced armor everywhere. It's kind of like a super Pershing at Tier 10. It has just a ton of spaced armor all over it. It looks pretty cool in my opinion. In terms of the hull, I'm not 100% sure, but I would guess that's probably better armored than at least the normal Conqueror. Don't know if it'll be better than the FV215B, but from my experience, the FV215B never really had that strong of a hull, and the gun and the turret being mounted at the back actually exposed a pretty huge weakness. Whenever it was side scraping, you could just shoot directly below where the gun is pointed at you, and you could pretty much always pen that. So that was a pretty major weakness of the FV215B, which I suspect will be mitigated to an extent with the Super Conqueror. And yeah, overall the FV215B seems to be better in terms of the overall stats on paper, but I suspect overall in the actual game itself, the Super Conqueror will probably be the superior vehicle because it's got the overall better survivability, even though it has a little less health from the stats that I've seen. It's going to have overall probably the better survivability because it's going to have a bunch of spaced armor all over it. It's going to have improved armor over the standard Conqueror, and the standard Conqueror already had a decent upper front plate. It was just the lower front plate that was awful, so if they improved the lower front plate, this thing could be a force to be reckoned with. So my opinions on this. I am inclined to believe this sort of thing because they were right about the FV215B becoming a special vehicle, and they leaked that a couple of months before Wargaming made anything or made any details of it known. So I'm inclined to believe this sort of thing now because they were right the first time, and I don't think they would report on this unless they were pretty confident in their sources. So yeah, and if you don't know what I'm talking about the places I mentioned earlier, the Armour Patrol, Daily Bounce, and Raised Dash report. I don't think they would report on this unless they thought it was accurate. So my personal opinion is I'm going to go for this if I can because I am of the mindset that I want to get at least one of these tier 10 special vehicles because I missed the Force 155 because I just wasn't fast enough. I screwed around too long, like doing other stuff, and the SE48 was driving me insane because the SE48 prior to the buffs, prior to the new gun, but which by the way is really really good. That tank was just abysmal. It was no fun at all to drive, so it just basically put me off even going for the Voss 155 on its own. But it's changed a bit now, and I actually think it's better than it was, significantly better than it was. So yeah, and also a detail that a lot of people may not be mentioning is we don't know how many more of these vehicles Wargaming may do. I mean, so far we've had the Foch 155 and the FV215B. Well, providing this is accurate, of course. But we don't know how many more vehicles could end up in this sort of situation. This could be the last one for all we know. So in my mind, I'm thinking I want to get at least one of these tier 10 exclusive vehicles. So I'm going to go for this one as hard as I can, and I already have the Conqueror unlocked, but it's stock, which is going to be well, the opposite of fun to go through because the Conqueror stock is not a very good vehicle, if I'm completely honest. It's basically just a big. It's first off, I didn't realize how big the Conqueror is. The Conqueror is gigantic. It's absolutely massive, and yeah, that doesn't really help when it comes to artillery and tank destroyers and everything shooting at you from long range. You just get absolutely shredded. So yeah, it's going to be fun to grind that thing with a 20-pounder gun, which is a tier 8 medium gun. God, yeah, that tank is going to be a while. It's going to take me a while to get to that there. So, if you're like me and you want to go for this thing, and you're at like a certain stage in the UK tech tree, say if you're at, say, as an example, like tier 7 or something like that, you may want to get going with this grind because the latest estimates for Win 9.20.1, which is from the leaks, the patch where this is supposed to be happening, that's supposed to be coming out in about a month's time from the latest like estimates of like when this could potentially happen. So it could be later, it could be earlier for all we know. So I would say if you're at like tier 7, tier 8, tier 9, then you may want to finish up the grinds sooner rather than later because we don't know when this is exactly going to occur, when they're actually going to release the patch. So yeah, let's just finish this off by saying so those are the details that have been released or that have been leaked at this moment in time. FV215B for a long time for me was a vehicle I just was not interested in, but the Super Conqueror is a vehicle that I am kind of interested in because I think it looks cool and I kind of want it primarily because of that. That might be a really shallow reason to actually go for it, but I do think it looks cool, so I kind of want to go for it. And yeah, let me know your opinions in the comment section below. Do you guys believe the leaks, stuff like that there? And what tier are you at in the UK heavy line? And do you think you're going to make it to the FV215B in time? And are you going to wait until after the UK heavy line is rebalanced? Because I've heard they're going to get like a 32 pounders added to them with like 215 pen or something like that there, so it's going to be a significantly better gun than the 20 pounders we currently have to deal with, and that seems like a good place to end off the video. So thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.